When I grow up, I do not want to be like Bailey and Curly. No way. I have higher standards than that.
They make me laugh. At the same time, scare the shit out of me. What will they say next?
Welcome to the roller coaster world of Bailey and Curly. Unfiltered. While this voice may be artificial, the unfiltered musings from our hosts certainly are not. Make yourself comfortable, grab a drink, and let's get unfiltered. Here's your hosts, Bailey and Curly.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome to, I'm guessing this is going to be the very first, maybe the only episode of the Bailey and Curly Unfiltered. So if you're listening, thanks for listening. We're just going to have a bit of a chat around things that caught our eye. And
a bit of a catch-up.
Yeah, a bit of a catch-up. That voice that you just heard coming in was, of course, my good friend Bailey. And, of course, I'm Curly. And
hello.
We're going to talk about everything. Now, we're coming to you just as Melbourne is in, like, it's about its 32nd week of lockdown. Of course, we're now into the fourth or the fifth wave in Melbourne. No, I'm kidding, of course. Second wave, Melbourne. It's been back under lockdown. Matty, you're down there. So what have you been up to, mate, coming into lockdown again, and where are you at?
Mate, it feels like, even though this thing started like 4 to 5 months ago, it feels like it's been going on for a year. It really does. And as of Thursday, we now have to wear masks.
Yeah, I saw that.
I never was. Like I've been wearing a scarf mainly, man, because I can't breathe. I can't breathe in the mask. They're fucking ridiculous.
My glasses fog up in a mask.
Yep, mine too. I see people wearing them walking, and I'm like, why? You're walking alone. If you see someone, just avoid them.
But it's like you have to. I mean, what I find interesting around the whole masks scenario, and as you know, I was in Japan in February, just early March, and everyone over there wears them, so you get used to seeing people in masks. But in many cases, it's a bit of a fashion statement as well. But I always find that until it becomes that socially accepted sort of a scenario, and, you know, just personally, my glasses fog up, so I struggle to wear a mask. But when I'm told I've got to wear a mask, as I did at the Apple store the other day, I put a bloody mask on. It's not that much to ask, but
no, it's not. And Melbourne, we're back down in lockdown here, so it felt like we had things were just getting better too.
Yeah.
Like about a month ago, me and a mate flew up to Sydney. He bought a car.
Yeah.
So we flew up on the Saturday, spent the night in Sydney, and then went and got the car Sunday morning, and then drove back home. And the plane was full, absolutely full. And then the next day, it was when they announced that New South Wales were not letting Victorians in. I said, dude, what are the chances? That weekend we went up was perfect.
Yeah.
And then things just started to get worse again. So what I've been up to is I now live, let's rewind and then fast forward. I live in a 4-bedroom house by myself now, and I love it. Sort of just happened. Like back in March, I left I'm going to say it, toxic relationship, and I moved in with my friend and her two little daughters, and it worked out really well. Like I love it here.
Yeah.
Because I thought, I was going to just get here and then go get my own place, but no, I got my bedroom set up, and then a few months in, they've moved suburb. I'm like, well, I'll take over your lease. And I'm 30, turned 30 month ago as well, and I've lived in share houses. Like I moved out of home when I was 20, and I've lived in share houses. I've lived with partners and their parents. I've lived alone in like a little 1-bedroom, and I love having a 4-bedroom house to myself. And But one thing I noticed, I can't be fucked telling anyone at the moment because no one's fucking happy for you. Sometimes they're like,
Yeah.
you know, are you going to get a roommate in? How are you going to afford that? I'm sorry, but that's none of your fucking business. Like I said, I've lived with anyone.
Yeah.
Like having a 4-bedroom house, I love it. I'm currently in my studio now, which is probably where I've got the most furniture, to be honest. Like I've got my keyboard, I got my guitar amp, I've got, you know, the desk. Like in the lounge room, I've just got my TV that I've had forever and just a little beanless blow-up chair.
So how is your music coming along?
Yeah, it's slightly like it's sort of when you're recording in the recording process.
Yeah.
There's not much I can do down here except practice what me and Mark have already worked on and sort of come up with ideas, and then nothing really moves forward until I'm up in Canberra, which was meant to be the weekend just gone. But obviously with Melbourne being in lockdown, that hasn't happened. So sort of struggled. It's sort of like, you know, people go to the gym to sort of like, for their mental health. And then we do these little things to make sure our mental health's in check. And obviously mine's music. And to not get up there, it was a bit of a bummer. But pushed through and you got through it, and we'll just have to wait until there's nothing we can do until we're allowed up there. And yeah. But one thing I've
and you're just stuck in Melbourne, so
like without you know, incriminating myself, I did spend my 30th with mum and dad in South Australia. So I can't. It's a funny world at the moment. And,
yeah, it is crazy.
You know, I've got a mate who's an hour away who's not in lockdown.
Yeah.
In Geelong, and he can't come here. I can't come there. But we talk every day on video, Snapchat anyway. So, but one thing I've got into lately is having a little fire. I bought myself a little fire pit.
Yeah. Okay.
And got myself a circular saw. And actually, you probably know this because you used to work at Bunnings, but Bunnings throw away their pallets that stock comes in on. So I've got a shitload of wood out there today. The last 2 days, I've gone nuts. I've got at least 10 pallets of wood out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be around the fire tonight,
mate. Hey, let's talk a little bit about a couple of the topics of the week. Now, I've got a challenge for you as well, Matt. So I've got lyrics on my desk in front of me for 3 classic songs. And every now and again, I'm going to throw a line in from that song, whether it makes fucking sense or not.
Look at you. You're putting the musician to the test.
And at the end of our chat today, I want you to see if you can pick which songs that I've got in front of me. So we'll see how that one goes. But let's talk. There's been a lot over the weekend, hasn't there? And you know, we saw the video. You were talking about Bunnings. We saw the video of the lady that's gone into Bunnings without a mask, creating all sorts of bloody hullabaloo, you know. And then ultimately, she wasn't arrested because she claimed she had some medical condition. And you know, if that's the case, that's fine. But I always struggle with the concept that you go in looking for trouble, but you've then got a valid excuse as to why. But what I want to talk about is all of a sudden we've got this concept of Karen, right? We've got Karen.
Tell me about Karen, because before Karen, I'm pretty sure if it's the same person, she's related to her cousin down the street, Susan. Susan was another one.
Oh, Susan. And it just amazes me how people have chosen this name Karen, you know. So it's Facebook Karen, you know. We saw COVID come out. We saw all the medical experts, and then we'd see these memes from Karen at Facebook. And to all the Karens out there, it'd be interesting to see how they feel about this. The actual nice Karens, the ones that don't carry on like pork chops or think the whole world's out to get them.
So this lady with her mask is a Karen?
Well,
is what you're saying?
She's been titled the Karen, but that's not her
The
real
Karen.
name.
No. But yeah, I get.
Yeah. So Facebook Karen, like, who made the decision that everyone who's got an opinion and shares it on Facebook was going to be called a Karen?
Well, funny because I don't know if you've seen it, but Mum's name's Karen, and I give a shit all the time. I don't know where it's come from. Obviously, Facebook and shit.
Yeah.
But another one, and Dad's name's Dave, and I see all the time, classic Dave.
Yeah. Anyway, the wind blows. It doesn't really
Yeah.
matter. Yeah. It's but why Karen? You know, it's just incredible.
Mum's gonna hate me for saying this, but I'm gonna say it's a name you don't hear very often.
Yeah.
As well, so it's not. I'm not calling you old Mum, but it's an old name. Like you don't. It hasn't come through this generation yet.
Yeah. I just like, why didn't they call it Gertrude or Merle?
Merle.
And my late mum was Janice Merle, so so you know, it just, to all the Karens out there, I'd love to know what you feel about being labelled as the Facebook Karens. And I guess in so many ways, when we're talking about that sewer that is Facebook or is social media, really nothing ever grows in that rotten little hole. So there's just something about Karen that I'm not quite convinced about, mate. So it's
good old Karen.
Good old Karen. So what else has caught your eye about this epidemic? What are you seeing with public behaviour and whatnot?
Well, I've come off social media.
Yeah.
I made the decision to come off Facebook and Instagram pretty much as soon as I saw the Black Lives thing was happening.
Yeah.
Because like Facebook, like social media just become a very, very negative place. And I got sick of muting profiles so I didn't see what they're posting. It was just like, between COVID and Black Lives Matter, it was just such a negative place. And I'm just happier without it at the moment, while I'm in my little bubble down here, you know, working on my music and working on things. So,
yeah.
But yeah, human behaviour, I don't know. Like, someone told me the other day I was uneducated, and you know what? They're probably right. I think we're all uneducated. It's just like, what do we believe? Like, why? You know, how has Victoria got in this situation when I feel like the whole country was sort of in the same boat with, like,
we're looking good. We're looking good.
Like I said, when me and my mate went up to Sydney, the flight was full. Like, we flew in business and that was full, and then all of economy was full. And I was looking, like I said, I was going to be in Canberra the weekend, just going, I was going to fly up Friday, spend 3 nights there, fly back Monday. The flights on Friday to Canberra, there were 5 flights to Canberra. So from like 1 or 2 a day up to 5. That was a lot. That was a couple of weeks ago I was looking, because they announced that they're going to be increasing flights. But now, obviously, everything's been pushed back because of Victoria, and no one's let Victoria in. Like I said, I don't know how we got to this, how Victoria got. And it's really turning everyone into, like, against Victorians.
Yeah. And
you know what I mean?
And it'd be interesting to see how Victorians feel, because it's almost like, I was talking to a bloke from Victoria just this week, actually, in a coaching session. And I said, do you feel like you're excluded from Australia at the moment? And he said, I don't feel excluded, but I feel secluded. So, which was interesting. But, you know, we know that Victorians, AFL is a religion. And at that moment, that religion is being played everywhere else but in the holy city, you know. So I personally think, you know, there are going to be some lasting impacts in and around this, unfortunately, and it's
for sure. And I love Tassie with all my heart, and I can't wait to get there. And I sort of feel like I'm living there again, because when I lived there, I just couldn't drive to any other state, and now I'm in Melbourne.
And you can't drive to any other state.
Can't drive anywhere. But
Oh, well, you still got your music, mate, because when I hear my song, it pulls me through. So still got that music happening, haven't we? So. Because everyone's got to move their feet and get. Everyone's got to leave.
All in one.
Got to leave their seat. So, yeah. So there'll be a day when we're all back together again. I've got no doubt. But Victoria's. Let's hope people start doing the right thing and really start treating this a bit seriously. I know we're having a laugh about it now. You're stuck down there. I'm up here in Queensland. Queensland's luckily might even get the AFL and the NRL grand final for the first time ever, maybe in front of 4,000 fans.
All via Zoom.
Yeah. Who knows?
But yeah, human behaviour is very interesting during COVID. Like one thing that I saw was pretty disgusting was when they closed the SA borders, which would have been March. Like a friend of mine, family friend I've known, he was at my 18th. Put it that way. So I'm 30 now. So at least 12. My dad grew up with his dad. Anyway, he wrote he spray painted on the border or just on the road. It said COVID-19 locals only, and I'm thinking, like, man, fuck you, man. Like, I'm from SA. Yeah, I live here, and it's like I said, it's turned everyone against each state.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and that's fucking disgusting. Like, you know what I mean. So, but you've got to laugh about it.
Yeah, you do, and ultimately that's where we are. We've just got to try and endeavour to work through this and accept help wherever we can. So, and just see that we get out of this in the best possible place. But it's created some interesting behaviours, whether it's online, whether it's conspiracy theories, whether it's 5G network that causes COVID. I mean, there's. In my perception, and I'm not going to give any credit to any of these conspiracy theories, but in my perception, there's no way I can draw a link between like a radio technology and a fucking virus. That link is so teenyable at best, but people grab onto it because it's right to ask questions. I mean, I certainly don't get this virus. I don't get how someone can be negative for a week and then suddenly turn positive and they've been self-isolating. I just don't get that. And I don't, it's right to ask questions, but just because someone got COVID next to a 5G or a 4G mobile stand doesn't mean that it was caused by the 4G or the 5G. That's just ludicrous.
Mate, the way I see it, I reckon the way the media would report, if I had COVID and I got hit by a bus, they would report that as a COVID death.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because there's a difference between dying with COVID and dying from COVID, and
exactly.
And I think in the US, because when we were coming back from Japan, I said to my wife at the time, I said, US is the one that's in trouble because ultimately they don't have a healthcare system. Ultimately, it's a lot of high density cities. People just can't rock up to a hospital and get treatment like they can here in Australia. And I said, they're going to be in huge trouble. And, then we combine that with the leadership over there, and it's like you can stone me and spit in my eye because that's the whole concept of what not to do during the COVID crisis. But also interestingly, you mentioned social pressure in and around, and we've seen a fair bit of that in terms of people going shopping, and then all of a sudden you see photos on Facebook of so-called lack of social distancing and people being part of the panic and the fear. And I find that interesting because what they fail to realise is that why the hell were they there anyway? They're part of the crowd. They're part of the crowd.
That's what fucking pisses me off. Seeing photos of one of Melbourne's popular shopping centres, people not social distancing. But why the fuck are you there taking a photo? Oh, yeah. I'm there for work.
I'm there for essentials. I really needed those shoes.
Exactly. That's what I mean. And what someone is essential. Like there's been this rug shop open in my local the whole time. Like how are rugs essential?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and that, like what is essential for someone might not be essential for someone else.
Yeah.
Like I've just moved in. I'm in a 4-bedroom house. I need furniture. Not that I'm furnishing it, all straight away. I'm getting bit by bit, but
yeah,
you know what I mean. So I'm like, can I go to IKEA and go get a couch, or is that not essential?
Well, it's essential for you if you didn't have one. So
exactly.
But that whole, like, Sharon and I, we obviously kept exercising during the lockdown that we had up here. And I used to joke about the COVID games that we would play because you'd be running and you'd be coming up to people on a path. And I'd duck in behind Sharon. So we were on single file, we're on the left so that you could create some space. But the amount of people out there that just didn't do that. And I used to call it COVID chicken. Who's gonna run away? Who's gonna give space first? Because there's a lot of people who almost feel it's their God-given right to be able to just block the path. People with dogs stopping to chat with other people with dogs, and there's a path there that people walk on and run on. But no, it's a fucking dog gathering spot. So so we played COVID chicken. We're always looking out for those clusters, those COVID clusters. I just people's behaviour. If people took personal responsibility, you could go shopping, and if I was aware that I had to keep my 1.5, I keep my 1.5. I don't give a shit when anyone else is doing. I'm keeping 1.5.
Yeah.
So if everyone had that whole attitude, we would all be 1.5.
I think people now that, especially in Melbourne, now that we're all wearing masks, I don't think anyone's social distancing because it's like, well, we've got masks on now, so we don't have to, stay apart. But I honestly feel like social distancing is sort of physically impossible. And like, don't stand next to someone like in the friggin' tomato sauce aisle, like wait for them to move sort of thing. But and one thing that like annoys me is like when this is like nothing's changed and I have not heard an end goal yet. I don't know what the end goal is.
Yeah.
All I'm hearing is, reporting cases, and the cases seem to be getting worse in Victoria, and we're all wearing masks. So,
and you've been under isolation now you've had your hotspots that have been under isolation.
Yeah.
So the numbers are still going up.
Yeah. So
wouldn't you laugh? I mean, I'm sorry. Wouldn't it be funny if they suddenly found there was this whole fucking batch of faulty test kits that found their way to Victoria, and everyone is actually negative, but because they're faulty, they're testing positive. Now, there's a conspiracy theory I could latch onto.
And this is what when someone said to me I was uneducated because everyone's calling it a second wave, I'm like, this is just my opinion. I'm like, no, they're fucking test blitzing. They are testing every single day. If they were testing every single day, the numbers probably would have been the same throughout March to now. Yeah. But the last month or so, they're test blitzing everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tell us to stay at home, but you can go out and get tested.
Yeah.
And I think it's sort of like speeding. We know speeding's wrong. Like I've got a lot of speeding fines the last 6 months, all paid now. But it's the thing, like wearing a mask, they are giving out fines. I don't know if anyone is going to actually...
You obviously have never watched a zombie movie because the minute the guys in the hazmat suits start going house to house, there's zombies coming, right? So we don't want in-house testing at all because they're down in the tunnel where the deadly are rising. You can almost bet that the zombies are coming. So
yeah. Probably. It's a funny thing, and you know, I was listening to an interview yesterday, and it was funny. Like, for the adults going through this, it's fucking shit. But for the kids, they're gonna remember as it's the time I'm gonna spend, you know, most time with mummy and daddy. You know what I mean? So, and like, no one wants to remember COVID.
No.
And a band that I love, they released a music video recently, and the drummer was wearing a mask. The others weren't, but I'm like, it's sort of fucking shit, man. You're wearing a mask. I know we're going through COVID, but in 3 years' time, when I watch that music video again, I don't want to be reminded of it. Oh, why was he wearing a mask again? Oh, that's right, fucking COVID. Not that any of us are going to forget it. Fucking bloody hell.
And there are some positives that are coming out of it. I mean, there's a lot of people actually understanding their own strength a lot more. You know, people are becoming more resilient. They're understanding what are the important things in life, spending time with people that you love, going for, and, you know, this is the coach in me coming out, as you can see. But it's
Coach Girl.
There are positives to it, but there's also a fair deal of shit. And the reality is that a lot of people are probably the ones that have sat in a corner hoping that it all goes away in a fetal position are the ones that are probably going to come out of it the toughest. Same with businesses like that. I think if a business didn't take the opportunity that COVID presented to redefine what it is that they do, they've missed an opportunity, because when they get back to business, everyone else is sharper, leaner, and better.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the airline industry. This is your baby, buddy. So
man.
Airline industry is never going back to what we knew, at least for 5 years. So,
well, they think a 3-year plan. And like at the start, I don't know. Like I said, I've been up and down. Like, I look forward to my 2 weeks off. I haven't really this because I was meant to be, you know, up in Canberra recording and not doing that. Sort of like taking the gym away from people and but going to work sort of shit, because at the same time it's good to go to work, but then being at home in my little bubble, you know, it's just me in this house. I don't have 10 people that come over. I couldn't even get 10 people if I tried. Going to work, I'm like, oh, it's a reality, because I'm like, oh, you know, I see the signs, I see people wearing masks, you know, and you know, so. But the good thing is to come out of COVID, I'm debt free.
Well done, well done.
We have spoken about that on previous episodes, and
on a former podcast. This is our podcast, remember. You can't talk. This is our first episode. You can't talk previous episodes.
On a former podcast, we have spoken.
On the podcast formerly known as.
Formerly known as. No, I took the opportunity. I got some super out and paid off my debt.
Good on you. Good on you.
Yep. And you know, and that's another thing that, you know, social pressure comes into it. Like, oh, Matt, when you're 60, taking that out, it's gonna bloody affect you. I'm like, fucking whatever. Like, just let you know.
The beauty that base will give you now, and you know, it's good to get that balancing of the process. But the reality is that it puts you in a better position financially now. Which you should be able to leverage into the future. So,
and that's my point exactly. You know, no, it was good. Like I didn't have to, but I'm like, well, I'm going to free this up, because I need to finish my house, and if I'm trying to finish a house plus pay off my debt, you know, so took the opportunity, took out money, and now it's just my rent and normal bills. It's great.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
So, take the opportunity when you can, I think.
Absolutely. Mate, what are we doing? So this is the Bailey and Curly Unfiltered podcast.
Bailey and Curly Unfiltered.
Now, normally we would be sitting there telling our listeners it's going to come out weekly. We're going to do this. We're going to be tackling life's big problems. But no, we're going to get on whenever we feel like it.
Pretty much.
That's the deal.
Let's talk a little bit about how this come about, this podcast.
Okay. How'd it come about?
Well, from me, I've been watching a podcast weekly. 3 blokes get together. They talk about real life stuff.
Yeah.
They don't sugarcoat it. They say things. I'm like, fuck yeah, that's on my mind. And I'm like, I need to do a podcast with Tony, with Curly, sorry. And
Curly and Bailey and Curly.
And when you said no, when you asked me what do you want to talk about, I'm like, no topics. Let's just jump on and catch up about what we've been up to, and what us talking about what we've been up to will bring out topics anyway.
Yeah.
Like me living alone, and then I'm not telling people anymore because they're like, oh, you're gonna get a housemate? Oh, how do you afford that? Oh, but like, life isn't about fucking money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've got a simple life. I've set myself up. I'm fucking happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
there's and seriously, Matt, there's probably not too many people that can actually honestly sit back and think and let themselves acknowledge that they're happy.
No.
I mean, we tell ourselves we're happy. We superficially put our pictures into Instagram and Facebook to let people know that we think that we're happy, or we're trying to let them know that we're happy.
Yeah.
But there's so many miserable fuckers in the world that just won't acknowledge it. So, and often it just means to be doing, what is happiness for you? It's being debt free, being able to live by yourself, make your own rules. Working 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
2 weeks off,
If you had a recording studio in your house, you wouldn't leave the house,
Well, that's the thing. Like, where I'm sitting, like, I've set up fairy lights in the black background. I've got 2 black lights here. I'll send you a photo of it later. I've got a black and white print of New York.
Yeah.
I've got my Bailey Street sign.
Yeah.
I'm going to get myself a Mac laptop and then some studio gear, but that'll come like next year. There's no rush for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want like a basic demo sort of recording at home. But Mark's got all the gear, so. But that's how it come about for me. This podcast,
yeah.
And then you were like, let's start a monthly thing.
Let's just do a podcast.
Let's fucking do it. And I love that I can see you and you can see me. It's good. Obviously the listeners. I was playing around with Zoom before. I'm like, hopefully I don't cut anything out, but because you're on a big screen to me, and then I'm in the bottom corner. You're a bloody pro wizard at Zoom, so.
Oh, you need to just change the view. But anyway, we won't give people a Zoom. So Maddie, we don't want to bore people, so we've been going for a little bit. So let's pull up stumps for our first one. So, and Maddie was talking before about being on a previous couple of podcasts, and the reason why those podcasts shifted into a more business type scenario and away from the personal empowerment that Maddie loves so dearly. So this is it. This is our new beast. It's going to be one day. I can't tell you when the next episode will be, but I do know it will be, because one day I will get a text from Matt that says, let's do a podcast, and we'll just jump on and we'll go for it. So
yeah, man, I'm fucking happy with whenever. We'll do one tomorrow. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, and I'm looking forward to frequent podcasts with you, Tony, because we've done on former podcasts. We have done lots, and it's so crazy. The sort of this is our first one on Zoom. We've done them over the phone, and we've done a few in Brizzy, and fucking hell, I can't wait to do another one in person with you.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be awesome, mate. Yeah. Looking forward to it. So we're called Bailey and Curly Unfiltered. We're certainly not going to be censored. We're not going to be filtered. No. We're going to swear every now and again. We're going to talk about stuff that you may or may not disagree with, and that's okay. If you don't agree with it, that's cool. Just turn us off. If you agree with it, awesome. Share it. So, there's nothing more simpler than a podcast like this where we're just going to talk.
Just going to talk. And what you said there was perfect we are unfiltered. If you do disagree, turn it off. Because what you want to do is sort of, you want your listeners to sort of agree with you, and you want to filter out the people that
Yeah.
don't agree with you. You know.
And if you don't agree, why not challenge yourself and maybe think about, I want to see where these guys are coming from and why they think like that. And it may not change your mind. Absolutely.
No.
We're not here to change your mind. But it may enable you to say, well, I heard these two dickheads on a podcast talk about this, and this is where they're coming from. And I understand that a little bit more. It means they're still wrong, and that's quite entitled. Maddie, what were the 3 songs that I shared with you during our little chat today?
Mate, I only remember 2 of them, but I don't know the songs. But it was something about getting on with life or something, and then moving your feet. But come move your feet away, move your feet.
Okay, the words and the lyrics. I hear my song and it pulls me through. And there's going to be people out there saying, Maddie, how come you don't know this song? Everybody's got to move their feet, get down. Everyone's got to leave their seat. That's Detroit Rock City by Kiss. My God, my friend. Also, during the course of the conversation, the classic, Anyway the Wind Blows Doesn't Really Matter to Me, and So You Think You Can Stone Me and Spit in My Eye. Mate, there was a major movie about that particular song, Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. And finally, I've got a phone ringing somewhere, but who cares? Down in the Tunnel Where the Deadly Are Rising, and then Nothing Ever Grows in This Rotten Old Hole. Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell. That's your challenge for our next podcast. See if you can grab lyrics of 3 songs, throw them into the conversation, and I'll see if I can grab them.
All right, I like that.
Awesome. Maddie, as always, pleasure speaking with you. Let's not be
too,
strangers.
Mate. All right, mate. Take care.
See you, my friend.
See you, mate.
Thank God that's over. If you didn't like it, leave a review to warn others, or share it with people you want to annoy. If you did like it, I'm sorry, you cannot be helped, so you may as well leave a good review. I guess the boys will appreciate it. As Curly would say, don't be an asshole. Hopefully, I won't see you next time. Goodbye.